Poor kid thinks it's Santa. It's December, which means it's time for our annual Christmas dinner. I'll be preparing a Bavarian feast this year, and I'll be attempting it single-handedly, which will require 5 days of preparation and cooking and a 3 a.m. start time. That's challenging, but it's not the hardest part of this. What'll be even more difficult is trying to pronounce all of the German recipe names. I only know one German phrase, Haben Sie einen Stift, which means, do you have a pen? I don't know when I learned that or why. It's not particularly useful. And I'm not sure how I'm going to get through all of these names. Hey, you speak German, right? Haben Sie einen Stift? Nein? For our appetizer this week, I'll be baking a tasty, enriched German roll known as Brötchen. This hat is not helping. I'm serving the rolls with
Sauerbraten
or roast beef. And for the entree, also known as
Abendessen,
I'm roasting
Krustenbraten
or pork roast with crispy rind. With the pork, we'll eat
Spätzle,
a buttery egg noodle, which is tasty but messy to make. Now, many of us Americans have never heard of a savory strudel, but this week I'll be trying a
böhmischer Krautstrudel,
which is a delicious cabbage strudel. And to add a bit of green, we're going to be trying
Speckbohnen,
which you can call German green beans. And all of this will be accompanied by
rustikales deutsches Brot,
or rustic German bread. And our dessert features
Versunkener Apfelkuchen,
or buttery German apple cake. Along with this, we'll snack on a traditional German Christmas cookie.
Lebkuchen,
And for good measure, I'm throwing in a second cookie-like dessert, Berlin bread, known to Germans as Berliner Brot. And of course, no German feast would be complete without the traditional hot spiced wine, known as
Glühwein,
With a menu like this, what can I say but
Guten Appetit.
It's a week before Christmas Day, and we're going to start the advanced preparations with the
Sauerbraten,
or roast beef. And we'll begin with the onions. Next, we need to dice up 4 large carrots, or an equivalent number of smaller carrots. Now I'm going to slice up 4 leeks. We're going to crack 16 juniper berries and 20 peppercorns. Now we're going to take all the vegetables that we just cut up, and we're going to put those in a pot along with the juniper berries, the peppercorns. I also have to dice up 6 garlic cloves. I've also crumbled 6 ounces of ginger snaps, and that's going to go in the pot, as well as 4 sprigs of thyme, 4 sprigs of rosemary, 4 bay leaves, 12 cloves, 5 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 5 cups of red wine, 2 cups of red wine vinegar, and 3 cups of water. We're going to bring it to a boil, reduce the heat, cover it, and simmer it for 10 minutes. The vegetables for the roast have been simmering for about 10 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off. We're going to let that cool now, and then we're going to put the beef in there and marinate it for a week. Turning now to the Berliner Brot, or Berlin bread. And I'm going to start by beating together 4 eggs, a cup of butter, which has been softened to room temperature, and a cup and a half of brown sugar. The recipe calls for beating this together until it becomes foamy, but I don't think it's going to get foamy. Alright, now I'm going to mix together flour, semi-sweet chocolate, and if you need these specific amounts, take a look at the website. Baking powder, cinnamon, ground clove, and 2 tablespoons of rum. Alright, now I'm going to combine the flour mixture with the butter mixture. You can see how that looks, and I'm going to fold in some coarsely chopped almonds. I've taken an egg white and beaten it a bit. It's just starting to foam up. And we're going to spread this over the dough. Now we're going to bake these for 20 to 25 minutes until a toothpick comes out clean. I've preheated the oven to 350 degrees. Google, give me a 20-minute timer. It's been 25 minutes. Let's take a look at the bread. Yeah, that looks done. We're going to carefully slide this onto these racks for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to cut it. While these are cooling, I'm going to mix 2 cups of sugar with 6 tablespoons of water, and we're going to heat that on the stove until it turns into a glaze or frosting. Okay, 10 minutes have passed, and this is now still warm. So we're going to slide it onto some cutting boards. And the glaze is ready. Now we'll cut it into 1.5-inch pieces. I'm going to let these cool together, and when they're cool I will preserve them in an airtight can for about a week. So they'll be good for Christmas. After a few hours, the marinade is finally cool. So now I'm going to put the rump roast, the 2 rump roasts, into it, put it in the refrigerator for a week until Christmas, and I'll be turning this about once a day. And that ends the advanced preparations for this week. A few days before Christmas, I will resume the advanced preparations, and then we'll see how the meal goes. It's 2 days before Christmas, which is when we'll be having the dinner, and a good steady rain is falling down, so you may hear that. And I'm going to start the advanced preparations today with the bread rolls. I've preheated 3 3/4 cups of water to 110 degrees, and to that I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of yeast and 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, and I'll mix that up, and we're going to let it sit for 10 minutes. Google, give me a 10-minute timer. While the yeast is rising, I'm going to take 5 egg whites, and we're going to stiffly beat those. I'm going to take 5 cups of flour in the mixing bowl, salt, and shortening. And when the yeast comes out, we're going to add that to this. We're going to add that to the flour mixture and stir that in. And I'm going to add the eggs. I've kneaded the dough for about 10 minutes, and it should be ready now. The dough is smooth and elastic. Now I'm going to put it in this lightly oiled bowl and let it sit at room temperature for about an hour. While the bread is rising, we're going to start on the cookies. And I've taken sugar, and I'm going to mix it with about 1 cup of water. And I'm going to heat that up until the sugar dissolves. While that is heating, I'm going to thinly slice 3 oranges and 3 lemons. Trying to pick out the seeds now. Alright, I'm simmering the citrus fruit for 10 minutes in the sugar water. While that's going, I've started chopping up 6 tablespoons of dried apricots, 6 tablespoons of dried cranberries, and 6 tablespoons of dried cherries. I wasn't paying attention to the bread dough, and this is more than double. So what we're going to do now, lightly grease some parchment paper. We're going to scrape the bread out onto it. It'll deflate some. Form it into a round, and then we're going to let it rise some more for 45 minutes. The citrus fruit has been simmering for 10 minutes. I'm going to take it off the heat now. And I'm going to drain it. And when it cools a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and slice it up into small pieces. Then we're going to mix it together with the dried fruit.